Buddha,
Friend,
what's going on?
hey, it's life.
Hey, what time is it?
It's so calm.
Shine Java, bro.
It's so calm, it's.
Yeah. I have to use my Zulu in this one. I'm going to be learning Zulu. You must learn
Don't worry, I've got my dictionary tonight. Skawala.
Zulu.
Ukabuwa, ungateta,
Hello, it's boy.
I'm good, and you? Are you drinking coffee there?
Yeah?
Are you having some tea there?
No. It's I can't tell you, boy. It's illegal.
Why are you carrying alcohol on this lockdown?
It's illegal what I'm drinking.
Is it?
Yeah, your people
sure.
are here.
As long as it's sanitized. Yeah?
Skip some beer, nyana.
Hey, it's bad. I shaved yesterday, you see?
Let's get to business, dog. Izinja. So what's up, bro? Who's Kili? For all the people that don't know you, all the people who just joined the live, just saw the poster.
Here's that question.
It's the best place to start, bro. Who are you? Tell us.
So Kilimanjaro is Mthokozisi. My real name is Mthokozisi. Born and bred from Durban, or in Durban. Started doing music production, I think at the age of 13 years. I was still in primary.
Yeah.
Yes. And then standard 6, I met a friend. I was in high school. I met a friend. His name is also called Mthokozisi. So he's the one that introduced me to Afrotainment.
Yeah.
Because he had some relationship with Double Tira and stuff. And then we formed a group called Undisputed Boys.
Yeah.
Of which later I then, because I wanted to go and study further my career and stuff, then I started being Kilimanjaro. Then I started doing my solo project as Kilimanjaro. But before I was part of the group called Undisputed Boys.
Yeah.
Yes.
So can you just move your phone down a bit, but I can see half your face.
Oh, you wanna see me?
We want you, Chief. People must see the malls and ask for pictures. So from Undisputed Boys, the growth from there, what was next? I mean, you just launched Kilimanjaro. What was the hustle from there?
Under the group Undisputed Boys, we did projects like, the first project that went through was, the first song was Tira's Boot 8, which was compiled on DJ Fisherman's album. I think it was Fish Tank Volume 2. And then after that, it was I'm a Benjamin, which was, I think, 2015, of which was the year I then shifted to Joburg. I relocated to Joburg to do my course and stuff.
So now, me knowing you and just from the little homework that I saw, you wanted to be, in front of crowds, handling big stages. So where does that fit in? Because now you discovered producing when you're like 13-ish. Now where's the DJ? Now where does that come
in? Before I actually started producing music, I was an actual DJ because I love mixing songs and stuff, of which most of where my creativity comes from. Like mixing stuff, learning, fusing genres together and stuff. Because that's where most of my ideas pop from, other than things that I go through and stuff. And then when I decided to do and to go and study for live, it was more of me trying to connect studio works with outside environment and stuff. Because it's a bit different, although it's a similar concept because it's still music, but it's a different environment.
So DJ or production, if you had to choose?
But it's the same thing, Moss.
And it's not, bro. It's not the same thing.
Why the reason why I'm saying it's the same thing, with DJing, you get to fully experience or express yourself. Yeah, bro? Like out there, and then with production you have all the time, Yeah, bro. You can plan things ahead. You can sort of do whatever you want. But again, with DJing, you're a bit limited with whatever you're using out there in terms of gear and things. But at the end, you can still come with a new song while DJing. So
sure. Yeah, sure. So now, I know you touched on it a bit. How do you end up with Afro now? Because not just anyone can jump into Afrotainment. What happens? Because from the come up now you had Afro. How does that happen?
It's one of those things you really can't explain, eh? It just happens. Because as I explained earlier, how I ended up ending there, or how I got there was through someone that sort of approached me. Because to be honest, at that time, Mthokozisi, which is weird, calling your name is like, he had approached me, and he had this idea, because I used to be indoors most of the time, making music, making beats and stuff. So he used to be that guy that is always out there. He was good at hustling deals, doing proposals and stuff. So for him, it was more of, I will do my part in terms of producing, and then he's gonna do his part. Yes.
So now, how would you describe working with like major artists? Because I mean, like you're saying, you are not really on the hustling side, talking to everyone. Because not knowing you don't talk too much. You get in headphones, do what you have to do, get out. So now,
you know me.
How is it working with like major artists coming from like a come up thing?
Yeah, you know, hey.
And anyone who went to ASC knows those headphones from far. We don't see you, we see the headphones.
That's me. I have to protect my ears. But to answer that one, working with big artists, for me, I have found it to be more challenging and a bit fun as well. Because for me, I do it differently. Sometimes I do weird things. Sometimes I see myself as them. So I tend to do things like them. Like if maybe this song was to be jumped by, maybe a typical example would be maybe Tira. So you'd end up humming lines there and stuff like. So then at least you sort of have a bit of a direction. Okay, this one can work for that person.
Okay.
That's how I tend to do it. Even if it's an unknown artist that I've maybe just met, I'd like to get to know them first before.
Before the studio, yeah.
Yes, because then it gives me an opportunity to become them. Then I can sort of mess up, because I know what they like. I know what their dislike is as well.
Speaking of big artists, your best friend John London just joined us. Yeah, shout out John London.
Your
interviews on
It's not John London, it's Jonathan. His other name is Mark Kuban.
Yeah. So bro, you go from like you're saying, just learning the artist and like getting to know the person. Do you think that's an important part of the music? Because sometimes, we just jump in the studio because Tira says come to the studio, I'm there. So do you think you would work with an artist without having like known them first, like actually learning?
I think it's a combination of. I would say it's a bit of both. The reason why I'm saying that, in order maybe for a person like Tira to sort of call you, or any big artist, I feel like it's more of a thing whereby an artist sort of understands that you understand them better. So which means they don't have to struggle expressing themselves as well. And also you're maybe sort of able to guide them and lead them. Because you sort of understand. Sometimes they can say things they don't understand. But it's like, I know what you mean.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yes. It's like someone saying something doesn't sound right.
But they don't know what it is.
Yes. But then if you kind of know that person, it gives you, it puts you in a much more better place for you
to understand,
to understand what is it that maybe is making them uncomfortable and stuff.
So you're bringing up a very important part that I wanted to touch on. Back to your story where you were saying you ended up moving to Joburg to study. Why why decide to study like the whole sound engineering thing? I mean, dog, you're inside. You're at Fact Devon Rocks. Life is good. Why would you now pause all of that to now go study the music?
Hey, you'd laugh. But that one you're gonna love. The reason why I went to study, it's because I had been in production for quite some time.
Yeah.
And then I had always, like, in whatever you're doing in life, you want to grow as well. Like build interest, get to know and get experience. But for me, going to study was more of, let me go and get a paper for this thing that I feel good in or good at, to place myself in a better state. Because it comes to, you get to into situations whereby now you have to negotiate. And then and then you have to, like, maybe let's say you have to charge someone or code.
Yeah.
And then what are you using as a base? It's like, what are you talking about, dude? It's like,
yeah. Why do you cost this much?
But the language changes as
Kili's connection is giving us a bit of a problem. Hey, Babu.
I'm not on Wi-Fi. Someone just called.
Yeah. Tell them to relax. Yeah, you were saying, bro.
Yeah. So, what was the question again? Sorry.
Why did you study? Why did you decide to actually study?
For me, it was more of just to get the paper so that at least I get to know what is it that I'm talking about, and also, like, to open my mind to other things that are out there.
Do you think you achieved that with actually going to invest in the music and studying the music?
Like, there's nothing for me to regret. I don't have anything that I'm regretting. And even I learned more than what I was expecting, actually.
Live sound gens, you just want to connect subwoofers and see people dance. You're not worried about contracts.
And everyone is confused. It's like, dude, why did you do live sound? I didn't only do live. I did live and music production. So I was majoring in those two, and a bit of broadcasting. Although I'm not a friend, me and Ray were.
Broadcasting was a joke.
Yeah.
So with what you've learned now, what would you advise the younger kids, like, who are trying to get in the game, or even like a younger you? Like, if you had to advise yourself way back then, what would you say?
This is gonna sound a bit weird. What I would advise them to do, like in our day and age, me going to study, I had already been that person that is always curious, you know? Just that me going to school was more of a guide, because now I'm learning from people that have been doing it long. Of which it's what I was also going through even before, because I used to work with guys like Abo Fisherman, Abo Sepubze, Abo Kukwa, and stuff that had been on the industry for quite some time, and they were doing beautiful work. But if I were to advise someone or a younger me, I would say, not in a bad way, but I would encourage them to go and study for it, because this thing is like, it's a career, it doesn't end.
Yeah.
So I feel like sometimes going to school, as much as it's good, but coming out, because you're a creative person and creative people don't want to be controlled.
Yeah.
They want to express themselves. You get to that point whereby at the end, you still have to find yourself. Like, I'm still unlearning a lot of things. Because it's like, I don't need that one. I don't need that.
Yeah. Every time you touch a computer, remember, no, headroom, no, it must be -10. No, you're not even listening. You're just looking at meters.
Sometimes I have to brainwash myself and say, I don't know anything. I'm just here. I'm doing whatever I can. That's me. Yeah.
So now, what do you think you learned actually doing the stuff like you're saying, and like being active in the career, that you didn't learn at school?
Sorry?
What do you think you've learned in the game now that you didn't learn at school?
What I've learned is that it will never work unless you want it to work. It doesn't, in whatever that you do in life. Like I've come to realization, there's always, I don't know if it's a term or a language that says your time is coming. I always get confused when someone says that, because it makes me so curious. It makes me want to ask, who then decided for you that it's your time?
Yeah, time.
Because you are doing something. That's why it works. So if I'm not doing anything, and then someone is saying to me, your time is coming. Something is not right here. So you have to do something. Like unfortunately, I've been fortunate, lucky enough to meet people that are always doing like hustling and stuff. That's when you get to learn, okay, it only works unless you want it to work, which means you have to be doing something. If it doesn't work, you must come with an alternative, come with a better plan, try something new. But it will never work by someone saying your time is coming. What am I doing for it to work, for my time to come?
And what are you doing for your stuff to work? Because I mean, there are so many kids in the comments who probably like love your stuff. What are you doing? Or put them
on. Actually, John and I are working on an EP. Sometimes because I'm driving a slow jet here. It can be a bit slow, but we're working on a project, and it's got a funny title actually. We're calling it The Pilots.
The Pilots. I'll also what's going on here.
Huh?
I'll also ask John why you're calling it The Pilots. Maria, tell me.
Yeah, you should ask John that. So it's a title that was sort of given by our manager Tenny. So he suggests, I was like, pilots. Hey, it sounds weird. And it's like, dude, imagine, because for most of the songs or the compositions that you guys have came with, it's more experimental. It's not like, I'm not saying it's a typical thing, but it's like everyone wants to try and do anything that is commercial. No one wants to experiment and try something new. You understand? So they sort of limiting themselves. Sometimes I do gospel, which is weird, and everyone's like, but you're a DJ, Moses. I mean, I make music.
Music is music.
Yeah, music is music. Yeah.
So how do you get to a point where you've now found your sound? Because you're saying like you try a lot of things. How would you recommend someone gets to a point where they say, okay, this is my sound? Because right now what's hot is piano. So every guy is making piano. So how would you suggest that someone finds their sound, and how do you think they can get to that point where they're confident in like their own sound?
For me, sound is like, for myself, I don't have a specific sound, to be honest. For most of my production, sometimes people get confused, like, oh, it's you. Damn.
Yeah.
We didn't know. Because as I'm saying, sometimes I have to impersonate other people and be another character. But it all also depends. As much as it's all different vibes, I kind of feel like it's balanced in the same way, because I still use my ears. So for a sound thing, it's more of how do you hear things, no matter what knowledge you have, but it all depends on how the taste and stuff, like how you actually hear things.
Because it all comes down to the artist,
and that makes us different from all each other. Because to make an example, we can all write music and have maybe one particular mixing engineer that mixes our work. It always comes out the same, but we are all different.
Because that's how that person hears the music.
Yes, because that's how they hear the music and approach it.
So
that differentiation is what builds us or makes us.
Yeah, different. It makes you different people in the game. So now, how do you feel about, number one, paperwork in the game? Because there was a snippet I posted with Uncle Tira saying you guys don't want to sign paperwork. So what you guys don't want to sign paperwork. He was talking to James and saying, hey, you guys don't want to sign. So number one, how do you think, independent producers / artists should go about the paperwork game? And also, how are you learning that? Besides school, how did you get to a point where everything is ready, you're getting your money, everything is sorted out?
Yeah. But I don't think there's a person that doesn't want to sign.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm saying that, most people are hustling for deals out there.
Yeah.
As much as maybe they don't know about the insights of the music industry and the whole creative industry and stuff. But I don't think there's a person that doesn't want to sign, unless maybe they don't understand what is it that they have to sign and what it's about. Then when there's confusion, obvious, no one is going to sign.
Yeah.
Because even if maybe you were to sign a bad deal, someone has to persuade you and say, hey,
yeah, sign this thing.
And if you are lazy enough to not read, and then I feel sorry for you. Because even if you're not lazy, but you still read and then you don't understand like the concept, what is it about, what are they talking about? Because anyone can read and say, can read, but not fully understand what the deal is about, what the contract is about. So
shout out to everyone in the
for me, it was a bit different, to be honest. When I first started, I don't want to lie as well, I didn't know anything about paperwork, but it didn't take me far too long for me to know that there's paperwork. I'm very lucky to also work with people who are honest, like things like SAMRO. Like after the first release of that song that was compiled on Fisherman's album, people are like, dude, did you fill in SAMRO forms? I'm like, SAMRO. And then I remember, that was Sir Boobsen who asked me, did you fill in the SAMRO forms? I'm like, I don't know. Next person was Fisherman. Hey, dude, did you know anything about licensing? Did you license the song, or did you like type of contract, like deals that you can go into in terms of selling or licensing your music or selling your music out there? And I didn't know about such things, but it didn't take me too long to learn them. And I remember on my first pay, because I was using I had those tiny little speakers that come with PC.
Yeah.
The first payment I went and bought, it was called a music combo. An M box from ProduSApublishing. So you should get the 49 keys and the small sound card, the 2-channel sound card, and the Pro Tools LE. Yes, LE.
Yeah.
That was my first payment. And I still have them.
And I'm sure every time you look at them, you're like, hey, way back when.
Yeah, I laugh.
We have a question here from Temba Nkala, who wants to know who is Kilimanjaro's inspiration. Shout out to everyone in the comments, by the way. Send us questions. Shout out to you guys. Yeah.
You're gonna laugh.
Tell me. Mom. That's everyone. Hey, I feel like I'm not shocked by that answer.
It's my mom, and the reason why, because I remember as a kid, so my mom had like a lot of vinyls. So I used to play like old school, about Dolly Parton, Judy Boucher, Benton. So that's what I grew up listening to. And also second to my mom would be my brother. My brother brought me the small
cassettes.
Yes. And at that time, I was messing up my mother's tapes. Yeah. I was 7 there. And then my mom would be like, hey, I want to have Judy Boucher there. And I'm like, I fucked up. I used to get moved. But my mom is like, I think that's the music business thing because of it. If maybe I had grown up in a different household, I would have had different inspirations.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense, because even in your sound, I can hear that you love the chords. Like even if you're making Afro pop, piano,
if it doesn't have the soul, it doesn't touch me.
It doesn't have any soul. Like I know, right? You went behind.
There should be soul in the music. Something has to live. Irregardless of the lyrical content and stuff, the song or the composition must live on its own. That's what I believe in. Like you must be able to listen to the composition as on its own and stuff, separate from.
So just the music.
Because from me, lyrics are more of getting the message by delivering something. And nowadays, as you know, it's a bit hectic. I know the.
You see, what I love about you is that you're taking the interview to a direction that I want it to go.
Nah.
So how do you feel about the game right now, bro?
Yeah.
How do you feel about the industry right now? How do you feel about the music? How do you feel about the art? This is something I always ask the producers that I have. I just want to understand how the people behind the music are feeling about the music in the game right now.
I kind of feel, I would say sad in a way. And the reason why I would say that, I would say sad, but I wouldn't want to blame anyone. And the reason why I'm saying that, it's more of the reason why we are here with the Yanos. There's nothing wrong with the Yanos. The reason why I'm saying that, it's because there's certain songs that are good, that relate to people, of which I don't mind. And there are some Yanos that are more musical, or like, yes, they are musical, and the quality is nice. And then there's like that 80% of which you and I know about. You understand?
Yeah.
So for me, it's not more about the content. It's more about the marketing, the PR out there. And it sort of goes as far as touching down to things like social issues. I kind of feel like most people, like maybe 89% of South Africans, is depressed. And they're looking for anything that would be sort of like fun to make them forget about their problems.
Oh, what's going on?
That's why they end up relating to things that are sort of obscured. And the reason why I'm saying that is, when you look back to maybe Abu Mam Miriam Makeba, but the people that used to sing about what was going on in their time, people back then were not so embarrassed or so sensitive enough to not listen to such songs. But in our age, I think for someone maybe at my age, it wouldn't make sense to sing about them like drugs and drug abuse. It's like, it's a bit different.
So, with that being said, where do you see the game going? Because I feel like it goes in cycles. You know, there's a sound that comes in, then it goes out, then there's a new sound that comes in, over and over and over again. So, where do you think we're headed musically now?
Right now, I think we are back where, I wouldn't say where we started, but I think it's maybe the first phase of what was called Kwaito. Because for me, when I listen to Amapiano, I'm hearing Kwaito.
Yeah.
So the difference
with the bass line and the music, yeah.
So the difference would be now maybe the sound or the texture. But if I were to get maybe Brown Dash or Mapaput, they would do much more.
They
would do much more better. Not to say I'm dissing anyone, but I'm just saying that's what I'm hearing when I'm listening. Because those were also some of my influences that I went through and stuff.
So now during this,
but it's also downscaling the South African music, and the reason why I'm saying that, it's more of like, I love challenges. Like, I love hearing new things. Like, oh wow, I didn't know you can do that, but it still sounds good, and it sounds good. Yes. But now it's kind of feels like, if someone does Amapiano, all of us must do them. Okay, it's fine. Even if we do them, try and come up with something new, whereby we didn't know that you can do this with that, and then you're doing something.
It's everyone wants to make it, you know what I mean? People want to be in the industry, and if radio right now is playing piano, then you know what I mean?
That's
So
another trouble.
with the radio, not even with the radio. Hey, I don't want to.
Because
Those
now
people.
it makes me want to sort of question what is the radio sound or the sound of the radio.
It's what's popular, bro. It's really what's popular.
Like, to be honest, like when I used to make music back then, I would also do things like, as much as I would sort of maybe impersonate or another artist or someone, but then I would do things like, this is Igagasi 99.5. That's what
Yeah.
And then sort of impersonate Klape, it would be King's Feast or maybe Ketap, or I don't know, cause the FM or Metro FM. It's where you're at. And
Where
stuff.
you're
So
at.
things like that. And then you can sort of feel which, oh, it can work or it wouldn't work. Or maybe it can work on this show, it wouldn't work on this one. That
Is this when you're making the beats? Is this when you're making the music?
Yes, I do such things. Like I know which this song would be good for this show, this particular show, because maybe it sort of fits the theme or the sound.
Yeah, of that particular show.
Yes, which means whoever is doing the sampling don't have to
listen to my stuff.
You just go straight there. That's where your start is.
So how are you keeping sane during this lockdown, bro? Because I mean, the industry as we know it has changed. So what are you doing to stay relevant, to, just not go crazy? Because as creatives, we want to be outside, we want to run around and go to gigs. As much as sometimes they're a headache, what are you doing?
But we also must remember that gigs are only on weekends. So for me, during the week, I'm always indoors, music. And actually, it's not even music. Anything that has sound, that involves sound. I love anything that involves sound. Like, I seriously lose my mind if I haven't been into studio for more than a week, because I have all these ideas in my head that go out and stuff.
So just from my side, bro, I have a lot of respect for you and your craft and your music. And I mean, we've known each other for some time now. I think the game is in good hands, bro. The game is in good hands. Yeah?
Which you used to fail a lot, yeah?
Yeah,
but what matters is life. We're all here now.
That's what matters, bro. I think as long as we, as the industry, prioritize the art, bro. If the music is sounding good, if whatever you're doing in the space is good, then we can move forward. Because this thing of bare minimum, it's not the one, man. It's hurting the industry as a whole.
But I think it also depends on what you are doing it for. Because like for me, I'm at a point whereby, as I said, for me, I went to school so that I can just maybe get a qualification and know what is it that I'm involved in and stuff. So now the next phase is to now do it for myself. I think I've done it more than enough for other people. Now it's time to concentrate on myself. Not on myself only, but also look around. It's like, oh, you're doing great. Let's go. Let's work together and stuff.
What do you look at before you decide to work with someone?
Yo. For me, it's a person that is really. All I'm looking for is a person that I'm able to communicate with. Because now there's not gonna be a clash. I can't be saying kick and you're saying snake.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be open for anything. Like for me, to make an example, me starting to work with John. So what would happen would John would want to play keys, and then I would want to play bass. So now it's a matter of between each other. We know who's got maybe. Because sometimes an idea just pops in and then it's gone. So I would rather say, okay, John, let me start, because for me, I started learning music late. So when an idea pops, I have to
put it down
as fast as I can. Other than that, I am gone. It's gone.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hear another thing in a different way, and then I'm gonna want to rewrite and stuff.
Yeah.
But for him, it's more of because he has that knowledge and stuff.
Yeah, it's quick.
Yeah, it's quick. But for me, anyone who's open, I work with a lot of people other than big people, like big artists and producers. I've also worked with Prince Bulo, I've worked with Abo Kokwa. Yo, there's a lot.
Yo, we need to talk to Bulo as well, man, because I think with the right content, and getting to a point where we are just educating and passing the knowledge down along the newer wave of producers and engineers who are coming into this. Very important, bro. So I think that's what we all focus on.
Also for me, I was very fortunate to work with people. I would rather say to work with more musicians because they understand the instruments. Then I get to learn the language, like how to communicate, small like staccatos, your legato. Because sometimes you get into studio and then you have to work with someone and then you don't know how to communicate. Imagine hiring a guitarist there, and then you don't know how to tell them.
You don't know what's going on.
To strums or you want them to mute the notes. It's like just play it, you'll see. However, and then and then if you start saying such things that they have to put their own ideas, now they become composers. And then if you don't know about the music businesses, now it's hectic.
Oh, because now they have a shade.
Like for me, I would rather draft something or draft a very like a tiny melody line, and then I'll hire someone because I'm looking for a certain tone or a certain style of which you can maybe sometimes imitate through MIDI. So that you want the human feel. If there's a guide there, it's easier for them. But I can't just hire someone and say, "Hey, we'll see. Let's add something."
What you have to do, yeah.
That's a composer.
We were talking about Preacher just joined us. Shout out to Preacher one time. Really, shout out time. Let's do an interview, Mr. Preacher, please, man. Let's talk about mixing. Boy Jesus Dog was very, very nice. Josh commented here, says the global survey said that the creative industry globally generated globally the world's GDP. This was in 2015. So the number has grown, but like you were saying, the creative industries are very.
But with what Josh is saying, I also look at it. I would rather say country by country, and the reason why I say that, like when I remember when I was still in high school, most of my teachers most of my teachers didn't know anything about the creative industry. When I said I wanted to do sound engineering, I remember I had went to Mr. Dlamini, who was the person that was.
Remember?
I was doing standard 8. Yes, he said no, so he had heard engineering. He's like, there's physics there, there's mechanical technology. Go there. Hey, I'm like, ish. I still did it. But then I came to realization that the most important thing was maths and physics. So going back, same thing that I think might be affecting the creative industry within the government side or the political way is also that because they don't believe much in creative industry. Once you start telling your parents that you're a singer, it's like,
music. Everyone thinks we're DJs, hey? We go spend so much money and so much time to study sound engineering, and then people still call you a DJ. Like, yes.
But on my first gig, I remember my first gig, I was still in primary school. So I had asked these guys to come home because my dad was strict, your boy. And we came up with a typical lie. These guys came home and said there was a technical issue on because AFM, so I was the only person that could fix it in order for me to go out. That was my first gig, nightclub gig. And at that time, we were not allowed to enter a club at the age below 18, under the age of 18. But I went in because
You've always been a crook, you, bro. You have always been.
It can only work unless you want it to work.
The gents are mentioning something very important here. Shout out to Season 98 and Ezra. They're saying energies are very important. Energies are very important with the music, because we can't just get into the studio because you are so and so and I'm so and so, because it's not gonna sound right.
And also, some people like work better when they're in their private space. So you have to come into such terms, like you have to respect that, not because maybe they have pride or anything. It's just them. It's just their personality. They feel more comfortable working like in an yes. That's me. Sometimes I am like that. It depends which how deep or how connected am I to the craft that I'm working on. There are certain songs whereby I feel like I have to be alone and work on it.
Now, but it's been awesome picking your brain, bro. I don't know if you have any last couple of statements, last couple of thoughts to share with the people watching, with the people that support you, with the people who are trying to be, you know, the next Kili, who are trying to come up with the hits, man. What do you have to say for those kids?
That's a difficult one. But for me, whether you want to be maybe like me or you want to be better at whatever you do, never forget the reason why you started. And I think everyone knows that. And also, whenever you get stuck, just look back for a while, just a bit, just to check where you come from and stuff. Because I mean, I've found myself, to make a typical example would be, we all get to a point where we get producer's block. Just that we run out of ideas.
That thing is the worst price.
Yes. And then, I mean, what I do to overcome that, it's more of, what is it that I've done? Which is why it's also important to do what to save my project, project. I just, sometimes I go back and like, I wonder what was going on in my life here. And then I get to tap in and go back.
And then just,
And then now I'm continuing, I'm starting all over. Because I feel like creatives live far ahead of time.
Definitely.
And most of them don't realize that. And that's why they get to a point whereby they get blogs and stuff. Because you are so far ahead. And two, maybe you've got thousands of songs or beats there that are stuck with you. They're not even out there. And yet you still want to create something new.
When you can go back.
Yes, people haven't received the work that you have, but you still want to be far ahead.
Yeah. I know. Shout out Kili.
So you have to bear those in mind. I'm saying you have to bear those things in mind. Keep them in mind. So that if you get to such situations, you sort of understand, this is the reason why. Let me go back. Let me look at my previous work.
See. I hope you guys are learning, man. You should be charging people for all this free knowledge.
The only difference here would be only time, which is why people pay to go to school. You're paying for time so that it doesn't take you far too long.
No, Kili, my brother, thank you so much for your time, bro. Really appreciate it. It was a great interview. And yeah, man, see you on the charts.
Hey, thanks for the opportunity. I hope everyone is doing well out there. They're washing their hands. I ran out of I'm using sunlight. Sanitizer is expensive, but wash your hands. But if it happens, use sunlight bar soap for bathing. Don't use it to wash your hands. Find something else. Maybe
that's why people don't listen to you. Now you're telling people to be using handy sanitizer now.
As long as your hands are clean, bro.
I know, sure, bro.
Sure.
So, bro.